First tonight, in an exclusive interview to NDTV's Vishnu Shom, Ukraine's foreign minister has hit out at India over imports of cheap Russian oil, referring to it as being morally inappropriate. Reacting to Foreign Minister Jaishankar, who had accused the EU of double standards, Mr. Dmytro Kuleba said that it's not enough to point fingers at the EU and say, oh, they're doing the same thing. The Ukrainian foreign minister said that Russia uses money from oil to kill Ukrainians. Listen in.
What Mr. Jaishankar has said, that the European Union from February to November has imported more fossil fuel from Russia than the next 10 countries combined, and that even coal imports from Russia to the EU is 50% more than what India has imported. How do you look at this Indian concern?
Well, we are equally critical of any country in the world, be it in Europe, in Asia, or anywhere else, that is buying Russian oil in large quantities, because the money made on this trade are used by Russia to finance the war and the killing of Ukrainians. We recently welcomed the introduction of the price cap scheme for Russian oil. The threshold, the price cap itself is far too high, as we believe, but in principle it's a step in the right direction. So the opportunity for India to buy Russian oil at cheap price comes from the fact that Ukrainians are suffering from the Russian aggression and die every day. And they live in houses without heating, without hot water, without electricity. And this fact, we hope, should be appreciated by those who make decisions on purchasing Russian oil. It's not enough just to point finger at the European Union and say, oh, they're doing the same thing. Because the core of India's opportunity, the core reason of India's opportunity to save money on oil and to buy more cheap oil and to solve its economic problems is not the fact that Europeans are buying Russian oil. It's the fact that Ukrainians are suffering from Russia's war and dying because of it. If you integrate this element into your thinking, of course, then your foreign policy has to be adjusted accordingly towards the support extended to Ukraine. If you benefit because of our suffering, then it would be good to see more of your help addressed to us.
Mr. Kuleba, the point mentioned by India is, and our foreign minister, for example, is that oil is finite and that he has to seek something which is a finite commodity in the interests of Indian citizens. India, of course, has completely said that the violence in Ukraine has to end, the war has to end. India has repeatedly said that there is no path towards war in Ukraine. But this is being pursued, the oil formula, in India's national interest. So that's the argument that New Delhi makes. Again, how would you look at that?
In exactly the same way as I looked at it 10 seconds ago. We understand that Indian government acts in the best interests of the people of India. There is nothing wrong about that. But while doing so, we expect the Indian government to remember and to keep in mind that it has the opportunity to provide Indian population with cheaper commodities because people in Ukraine are dying.
Right.
And therefore, it should balance its acts, its policy and trade policy with Russia, with respective active policy on the Ukrainian track. Now, and it's completely wrong, once again, completely wrong to explain the purchase of oil from Russia by an argument that Europeans are doing the same. I think it's morally inappropriate, because you are buying cheap oil not because of Europeans, but because of us, of our suffering, of our tragedy, and because of the war that Russia launched against Ukraine.
Well, NDTV has reached out to the Ministry of External Affairs for a reaction to this interview. So far, there has been none. However, this is what Foreign Minister Jaishankar said yesterday on India's decision to buy Russian oil, essentially accusing the European Union of double standards. He asserted that New Delhi's procurement was just 1/6 of the European purchases of Russian oil in the last 9 months.
The European Union, between February 24th and 17th November, has imported more fossil fuel from Russia than the next 10 countries combined.
Well, in the same interview to NDTV, the Ukrainian foreign minister also welcomed greater Indian participation in helping resolve the crisis with Russia.
We've seen more direct statements in the recent past from Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the war that's been imposed on Ukraine. Do you believe India's Prime Minister can play a more direct role in reaching out to the Russian leadership to try and end this conflict?
Definitely. India is a very important player on the global arena, and Prime Minister of India, with his voice, can make a change. Indeed, we are looking forward to the moment when Indian foreign policy will call spade a spade and name the conflict not war in Ukraine, but what it is, the Russian aggression against Ukraine. President Zelensky, speaking at the G20 summit on Bali, announced a peace formula that consists of 10 steps and represents an excellent platform for global engagement of countries willing to bring peace back to Ukraine. So India is more than welcome to participate in the implementation of this formula, and we will need a strong leadership of your Prime Minister to end the war.
Well, Vishnu Shom now joins us for more on that exclusive interview. And Vishnu, the interview's been picked up quite widely by the international press already. However, the MEA not saying much more than what Mr. Jaishankar has already said yesterday.
That's right. There's been no reaction from the External Affairs Ministry. We've reached out to them in an email. We've messaged them as well. I would suggest that there would eventually be some sort of a response, even if that response is beyond commenting on this at this stage. But I think the key point of this interview is that it indicates a sharp turn in the way Ukraine is discussing its foreign policy or its policy with regard to India and the war. There is quite obviously more than an element of frustration in Ukraine at India's policy thus far. For example, Mr. Kuleba mentioning over there it's time for India to call a spade and to say that, look, it is Russia's aggression on its territory, not to couch that in any other language. That's one point. Then, of course, several references to the oil situation. The key one being that it's not enough to say that, look, Europe is importing oil, therefore what's wrong if we import a fraction of that, simply because, according to the Ukrainian foreign minister, that purchase of oil comes at the cost of Ukrainian lives. So that's where Ukraine actually comes from. But India's position has always been that India first. India's foreign policy balances our interests with Russia, which has been a time-tested strategic ally. And of course, we have very close ties with Ukraine as well. So at this juncture, it's unclear how New Delhi will react. But I think to the larger issue of whether New Delhi can have a real say, and that's what Ukraine wants, in convincing Vladimir Putin to end this war, that remains to be seen. Is Russia willing to bend, or for that matter, the Ukraine?
All right, Vishnu, thanks very much. Moving on to the other big story today, the Gujarat police today arrested Trinamool Congress national spokesperson Saket Gokhale for a tweet in which he claimed that an RTI had revealed that the Prime Minister's recent visit to Morbi after the bridge tragedy had cost 30 crores. This was flagged later as fake news by the government. Gokhale was arrested after landing in Jaipur from Delhi, and bypassing normal process, the Rajasthan police were kept in the dark. The Gujarat police then took Gokhale to Ahmedabad, and in the FIR, they claimed that he forged the RTI documents to make his claim in the tweet. Now, a local court has sent Gokhale to police custody till the 8th of this month, that's Thursday. Mamata Banerjee, meanwhile, has caused the arrest vindictive.
Do you agree to what the charges are on you?
The irony of the situation is that my tweet was about Morbi. I have been arrested and the owners of Oreva company have not been arrested yet. That just shows the priority.
Trinamool Congress spokesperson Saket Gokhale arrested by the Ahmedabad police. Gokhale has been taking on the BJP over the Morbi tragedy, in which over 130 people were killed after a hanging bridge collapsed. allegedly due to poor quality of repairs overseen by a company with expertise in watchmaking. The Ahmedabad Police's cybercrime officials say a complaint was filed by senior BJP leader Amit Kothari on the 1st of December.
Saket Gokhale ji ko giraftar kiya gaya kal raat. It's very bad. It's very bad and sad. Shakla is a very important and bright man, and for social network he is very popular also, and he has done no mistake. उन्होंने उसका कार्डियक अरेस्ट हुआ था, उसको तबीयत अच्छा नहीं था, बहुत संभाल के जिंदगी बचाया. उसका बाद देखो कालो जयपुर में आ रहा था, इधर से लेके रात 2 बजे अहमदाबाद में उसका पुलिस, गुजरात का पुलिस अहमदाबाद में लेके गया. क्यों? उन्होंने एक ट्वीट किया प्राइम मिनिस्टर के खिलाफ में. तो हमारा खिलाफ में तो कितना ट्वीट होता है. हाँ, साइबर क्राइम को जरूर देखना चाहिए. ऐसा कोई नहीं होना चाहिए जिसमें जो देश का खतरा होता है और पर्सनल अटैक होता है. लेकिन मौलवी भी स्टॉप तोड़ गया, ये तो बहुत बड़ा कांड था, और इसी के लिए वो एक न्यूज कोट किया था. इसी के लिए वी आर रियली सॉरी फॉर दिस विंडिक्टिव एटीट्यूड. आई कंडेम इट.
ये तो मॉडस ऑपरेंडी बन गया है. ये इसी को कहते हैं ना डर की राजनीति. ये मॉडस ऑपरेंडी बन गया है कि आप कुछ भी बोलने और लिखने से पहले सेल्फ सेंसर करना शुरू कर देते हैं खुद को.
The police say since the complainant came with reasonable inputs, they registered a criminal case. As they were also convinced that Saket Gokhale misled people with fake information after the government's Press Information Bureau called a tweet of his in which he quoted information from a news source fake. The Gujarat police claimed Saket was spreading misinformation. The basis of his claims was a report based on an RTI finding reportedly filed by one of Gujarat's oldest newspapers, Gujarat Samachar. But Gujarat Samachar had denied they had filed any RTI-based report on the Morbi tragedy. The Gujarat police claimed Saket manufactured the RBI to bolster his tweet. The Jaipur police were not informed about Gokhale being picked up from the Jaipur airport. The Trinamool Congress says the case is cooked up and the BJP has taken political vendetta to another level.
Saket Gokhale has been actively filing RTI pleas and has questioned senior BJP leaders, leaving him at the receiving end of attacks from right-wing trolls on social media. But the question everyone is asking now, including the Trinamool Congress and other opposition parties, is that was an arrest really necessary in this case? Presuming it's a case of fake news, did the police summon him? Did they ask him to join an investigation? Was his tweet disrupting public law and order? Or was he a flight risk? These are questions that are likely to be asked even as the case progresses.
The TMC also says the cost of the Prime Minister's visit to Morbi has not been officially released by the government, and Gokhale was only quoting the figure of rupees 30 crore from a news item to make his point politically.
Politicians are often subject to vicious trolling, and across party lines they are also victims of misinformation campaigns. The Congress party claims that Rahul Gandhi and his family are target of regular misinformation campaigns, but rarely do those who tweet such information face any kind of arrest. That's what makes the Trinamool claims that the national spokesperson Saket Gokhale's arrest is an example of vindictive politics, and opposition agrees with the Trinamool Congress, saying that with such arrest the Bharatiya Janata Party is trying to create an atmosphere of fear so that nobody can question the BJP and especially the Prime Minister. With camera person Ravi Joshi in Ahmedabad, I'm Tanushree Pandey for NDTV.
Well, we're going to go live across to Tanushree Pandey for the latest on Saket Gokhale's arrest. Also joining us from Kolkata is my colleague Saurabh Gupta. We're also getting news now that the Kolkata police have issued a summons to BJP leader and actor Paresh Rawal for a comment that he made on Bengalis. We'll come to that in just a moment. But Tanushree, what more are we hearing on Saket Gokhale's arrest? What more are the police saying?
Well, the TMC has been saying that it's the Saket Gokhale's arrest is an example of vindictive politics. But let's talk about where the case stands legally. I'll firstly quickly tell you that he has been given a police remand, a cyber cell custody for 2 days. He will be again produced in the Ahmedabad court on the 8th of December. In these 2 days, the cyber crime cell is going to interrogate him on the line of questioning will be that what is the material for Saket Gokhale to corroborate what he tweeted. He claims, Saket Gokhale claims that what he tweeted comes from a RTI report reply, an RTI finding, which was basically filed by the Gujarat Samachar, one of the oldest newspapers in the state of Gujarat. But the police is saying they have enough inputs to corroborate that it was in fact manufactured by Saket Gokhale and his team himself to defame Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the sensitive incident of Morbi bridge collapse. So that is going to be the first line of questioning. The second line of questioning will be, what is the intention behind the tweet? Did Saket Gokhale want to attack his political rival Prime Minister Narendra Modi, or was there an intention to incite some sort of intention? Because the police is saying that they have already confiscated Saket Gokhale's phone, and since it's a crime, cyber crime, all other gadgets, electronic gadgets, will also be sent to the forensic team, Nidhi. And the most important thing which the police is saying, that it usually takes more than a month to get an RTI reply. So it was impossible for Saket Gokhale in such a short span to basically file an RTI, also to get an RTI reply, or for any other outlet to do that. And the police is also saying that they have a statement from the Morbi collector which clearly says that no such amount was spent by the administration on the day Prime Minister visited.
Right.
So on the basis of all that,
Tanushree,
an FIR was,
his custody is there with the police until the 8th. Sorry, that's this coming Thursday. Saurabh Gupta joining us as well. Now, Saurabh, this evening suddenly the news has emerged that the Kolkata police are now summoning a BJP leader for making some remarks that, of course, created huge controversy. Tell us more on that.
Well, yes, there was a complaint that was filed by CPIM leader Mohammad Salim with the Kolkata police, more specifically the Taltola police station under the Kolkata police. That complaint demanded action against Paresh Rawal, including prosecution under several sections of the Indian Penal Code. The police seem to have summoned Paresh Rawal based on that complaint and the investigation into that complaint. Now, that's how investigations progress. The usual process is that you summon somebody, you record their statement, and then if you find enough ground for arrest, you go ahead with the arrest. And the question that if you speak to people who disagree with the way in which this case has been handled by the Gujarat police is that, was an arrest really necessary in Saket Gokhale's case? Now, in the Kolkata police case, what they're doing is they've summoned Paresh Rawal for questioning. They will question him, and based on that, they will decide on what steps to be taken next. Now, he's been called on the 12th of December to come and record his statement with the police. No response from Mr. Rawal yet on whether he will indeed come or not. And this is, of course, in connection with his statements about, cooking fish for Bengalis. And then, of course, he had tendered an apology after that statement, which seems to suggest that when he meant Bengalis, he meant illegal Bangladeshis and Rohingyas, making it even more worse. So that's, of course, the case of Paresh Rawal. He's now been summoned for questioning, which is what the Kolkata police say in connection with the complaint filed by CPIM leader Mohammad Salim.
Well, what a time it is to be alive. Thank you very much, Saurabh Gupta and Tanushree Pandey, for joining us on those stories tonight. Well, Ashish Mishra, the son of Union Minister Ajay Mishra, will be tried for the murder of 4 farmers and a journalist during a protest in UP's Lakhimpur Kheri in 2021. A court today framed charges against him and the other accused, and the trial will begin on the 16th of this month. This comes a day after the court rejected Mishra's discharge petition.
1 year and 2 months after the killing of 4 farmers and a journalist in Uttar Pradesh's Lakhimpur, during a protest against the centre's now withdrawn farm laws, a local court has said Ashish Mishra, the son of Junior Home Minister Ajay Mishra Teni, will be tried for murder. The court had rejected Mishra's discharge petition on Monday. The police charge sheet in the case has said Ashish was in the SUV that ran over the victims last October.
ट्रायल में डिले तो हुआ है, 9 महीने का समय लग गया चार्जेस फ्रेम होने में, वो भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जब जो है इस पे टिप्पणी करी, और उसके अलावा जो सेक्शन 34 जो है अभी कोर्ट ने हटा दिया है इसमें से, तो उसमें हम लीगल पैनल से डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, हो सकता है हम इसके लिए हाई कोर्ट मूव करें।
न्यायपालिका को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ, देर से ही सही लेकिन चार्ज फ्रेम हुए, ट्रायल चलने जा रहा है, हमें पूरा विश्वास है भारत की न्यायपालिका पर।
The Lakhimpur incident had sparked a wave of outrage against the Yogi Adityanath government, which was accused of shielding Ashish Mishra because of his father, the Junior Home Minister Ajay Mishra. The case has been long-winded. On the 3rd of October 2021, 4 farmers and a journalist died after being run over by an SUV. The Junior Home Minister's son, Ashish Mishra, was allegedly present inside the SUV. But the UP police arrested Mishra only a week later on the 9th of October, and that too after the Supreme Court's intervention. On the 14th of December 2021, a UP police SIT investigating the case told a Lakhimpur court that the killings were well planned and deliberate. In February this year, the Allahabad High Court granted bail to Ashish Mishra, questioning the UP police's evidence. But in April, the Supreme Court cancelled Ashish Mishra's bail. And today, December 6, 2022, a Lakhimpur court has framed murder charges against Mishra and the other accused. Now that the trial in the case is beginning, it will be important to see what the witnesses, and many of them have been given police security, say in court. And that is what is likely to affect the eventual outcome of the case. With Pratik Srivastav and Rajesh Gupta, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
The World Bank has upgraded India's GDP growth forecast for the financial year ending in 2023, saying that it will be a robust growth and inflation will also ease. The inflation has been forecast at 7.1%, though that is higher than the Reserve Bank of India's 6.7% figure. But towards the end of the fiscal year, the World Bank says inflation will ease below 6%. Global spillovers, it says, led to high inflation and tighter financial conditions. The GDP now, however, is forecast higher by 4 percentage points. Meanwhile, the markets went down for the third straight day today. The Sensex sliding 208 points. The Nifty fell by about 58 points. Most shares that declined actually were in the information technology sector. Now, strong US economic data suggests that the Fed there may stick to aggressive rate hikes, which is what has led to this reaction in the Indian markets. The rupee, meanwhile, also weakened today by 82 paise. Now, coming back to air pollution, tonight we're talking not about Delhi but about Mumbai, which is actually witnessing the highest pollution levels in 5 years. In fact, pollution levels across Western India have worsened, largely because the wind speeds have stagnated.
Mumbai doing a Delhi with soaring air pollution levels. The air quality at most prominent locations in India's financial capital remained between poor and very poor today, with 5 locations across the city recording PM 2.5 levels of above 300. This is bad news for Mumbai residents like 11-year-old Arnab, a budding cricketer who practices outdoors for 2 hours every day.
मतलब ऐसे सांस ले रहा था तो थोड़ा सा अजीब सा लग रहा था, मिट्टी थी ना जी इसलिए। तो डॉक्टर को दिखाया था या घर पे ही? नहीं, मेरी फैमिली डॉक्टर ही है पूरी।
Celebrities flagged the worsening air quality too. Actor Dia Mirza questioned why school students were practicing sports day march pasts in the open. So why is Mumbai facing high pollution levels? Experts say it could be because of wind speeds in the city high at this time of the year and helpful in dispersing pollutants suspended in the air have slowed down.
Industry, उद्योग व्यवसाय जो चल रहा है, इंडस्ट्री भी उसमें जिम्मेदार है.
Experts say the situation may improve by the end of the week. With Pooja Bhardwaj in Mumbai, this is Nayantara Singh for NDTV.
And finally, politics today has become so increasingly bitter that when we see even a little bit of camaraderie between politicians from the ruling party, the BJP and the opposition, it actually makes all of us sit up and take notice. So here, have a look at what happened when Rahul Gandhi decided to blow kisses at BJP leaders who were watching his yatra in Rajasthan. And what else happened when opposition leaders met the Prime Minister? Good back.